Luke Day, our new strength and conditioning coach. First time I've met him as well, so I look forward to hearing him. He's going to make an opening statement, then we'll open up for questions. Go ahead, Coach.
First off, I just want to express how thankful I am for this opportunity to be here and to be the strength coach at the University of South Carolina. I told the team the first time I ever got to address them about a week ago, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me aside from marrying my wife and the birth of my kids, but it's close. It's real close. It's that special, and been working my whole life, my whole adult life, for an opportunity like this. And I'm gonna squeeze every inch of opportunity I can out of it. So, what you guys got?
All right, Chandler Mack's up first. Go ahead, Chandler.
All right, Coach, thanks for doing this today. Coach Beamer was kind of talking about your passion for this position started early. You were blowing up his phone and all that. Just talk to us about why were you so passionate about coming to USC and being the strength coach here?
This is one of those places that you think about that if it ever came, you had the inkling of an opportunity to be considered for, there was nothing I wasn't going to do to give myself a chance. And I know Coach I sincerely bothered him, and I would not stop. And I didn't stop until he's going to have to call me. He's going to have to tell me no. But one thing he's going to know for sure is nobody wants this job more than me. And it was, yes, I sent him lots and lots of texts. Basically, every couple hours, just nobody's going to fight for this team more than you, for more than me, for you. Nobody's going to train these people from the inside out and go after the heart of these young men. And yeah, it's kind of absurd the way I did it and the way I wanted to go after it. And I'm just thankful to him that he gave me the time. And when we finally did connect and get a chance to speak with each other, there was a lot of like-minded thinking. And the way we kind of perceive this profession and what it is we're actually here to do, those things lined up quite a bit. And I'm, like I said, just so thankful that it worked out like it had.
Mike Yuba.
Hey, Coach, Mike Yu from Watch Fox Sports. We were talking with Coach Beamer a little while ago, just the importance of a strength and conditioning coach. And I think some people that have not been, through a program or covered football, they don't understand the importance of how much you guys are around the players. When you look at your role, number one, what's the most important aspect of it? And then number two, what makes a great strength and conditioning coach in your eyes?
Well, the number one role, and we have to wear a lot of hats in this job, in this role, but the number one is I'm the executive branch of the vision that Coach Beamer has for this football program, because we are executing that vision or projecting that vision and putting it into action every single day of almost every single week of the calendar year. It's something like there's only a few weeks off that we're off, and then we're right back at it. And that started this morning. But whatever we said we're going to be, and under Coach Beamer, when we meet as a football staff, I have to take that and run with it 100 miles an hour and make sure that it is understandable, that it is something people want to be a part of, and that it is enforced and the standard is upheld. The importance, what was the second part of your question?
Just what, in your opinion, from just your experience over the years, makes a great strength and conditioning coach?
A man that can draw out the version of a young man he could not elicit himself. And if these kids could just train and we hand them a packet, we should just send them to the rec center. But if you can put the right people around him that, and I'm going to steal one of my favorite terms of just defining what a coach is from our senior associate or whatever, I don't even know what we're allowed to call him yet, but Chip Morton, 27-year NFL head strength coach, that's going to join us here and is here on this staff, is man's heart are deep waters. And the insightful man, a real coach, draws that out of them. And there's deep water down there in the well, and we got to go dig it out. And that's what I have to do. Physically, this game is still about putting your hands on people and making them go where they don't want to go. And we have to train people that way. And there's a certain mindset that you have to do. There's a certain mentality that has to be taught and brought and instilled in people. And then a resilience. Like, it's one thing if you're a Ferrari type dude and you can go and you're explosive, that's great. But can you repeat it? Can you go round after round after round? And people that get trained that way, those are the people doing it the right way in this business, in my opinion.
Dick Cox.
Hi, Coach. I'm Dick Cox with Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting. I saw where you were involved and had your own inner city ministry. I've always been a man of strong faith. Can you tell me how your faith has been important throughout your career?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was an assistant strength coach at UCF. First off, back up. I grew up. My mom did, and I basically by default, I really had no choice. I was the assistant children's pastor as soon as I was old enough to not be in the children's church. So we were gonna help, and I learned how to coach a room of people and address a room of people doing crazy kids games on Wednesday nights at the Hamilton Dream Center. And it's the same type of thing. It's, do you believe and are you living what you're saying to these kids? There's no difference between that and being in an SEC weight room. And it got to the point I was doing the devotionals. I followed Scott Sinclair, just left UCF, and I was there as an assistant at UCF. So the role of doing the game day chaplain duties fell on my plate. And I had, sometimes you get rabbit's foot Christianity and you try to convince yourself how much God wants our side to win, and they're praying on their locker room, and basically everybody's praying for the same thing, which is to get a win. I got really convicted by that. And so that year in the end of the 2014 season, I kind of hung this up and said, I'm not supposed to be doing this. If my faith is real, I got to put it into action, and I need to go back and help this ministry. And that's what I did. And it was interesting because I thought, well, I'm going to be in the ministry. Sometimes you put that's like a term, you put quotes around it. And well, what does that actually mean? Because as soon as I tried to get myself out of a weight room, I got asked to be in another weight room. I was like, well, I'll do that as long as I got time to be in the ministry, whatever that means. And then Chip Morton asked me to be and help him out and be an assistant with the Cincinnati Bengals. And all of a sudden I said, wait a second. I told myself I can't make an idol out of this profession, but I need to live out my faith, and what I say people to is important to me. And I kept getting put in weight rooms. And I said, okay, I get what's going on here. That is my platform. And there's a lot of things, man. There's one of the most purest forms of the human exchange still takes place in the weight room, and it's messy. And it can get harsh, and it can get tough, and I'll make mistakes and I'll say the wrong thing because I'll get upset, and they'll say the wrong thing and they'll get upset. But we have to deal with our adversity with each other long before we walk into that stadium across the field here. And it's the same thing when you're in the ministry. I learned you wrestle with your flesh and your spirit every single day. And we're going to wrestle with the lesser version of ourselves on this football team until it gets put down, and the best version of ourselves we've brought out, and we've compelled ourselves to give it to each other.
Josh Kendall.
Hi, Luke. Josh Kendall from The Athletic. Shane was telling us about the phone call in which he offered you the job. You had accepted it, but you still had to knock out the legal, the term sheet, et cetera, et cetera. And he told you not to get in the car, and you got in the car anyway. So can you walk us through that phone call and how long it took you just to say, to heck with it, I'm going to Columbia, and how much you slept or what you did in those intervening hours?
I didn't. He said, do you want to be the strength coach at South Carolina? I said 1,000%. And he said, okay, well, let me get the term sheet together. And I said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. And he's like, well, make sure we get that taken care of. And I was like, at this point in time, somebody's going to carry me out of this building because you said you want me here, and I don't care about a piece of paper until you carry me out of here in handcuffs. But that's just how much I wanted to be here. And I was going to be there until they said I couldn't be. So, and that was obviously not probably the normal thing to do, but I was, like I said, this opportunity was close, and I could feel it in my hands, and I'm not going to let it go, and I'm not going to let a piece of paper stop me. Do you do Football and Grits, the podcast?
I do, yes.
I listen to that. Your voice sounded really familiar.
A lot of people say I have an accent, but I don't hear it.
I enjoyed that. I listened to all season long.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And now we know who the one was. John Del Bianco, next question.
Hey, Coach, I'm John Del Bianco with thebigspur.com 24/7 Sports. I'm just curious, what are some things you prioritize as a strength coach when you're on the field, practice field, straining these guys, when you're in the weight room? What are some things, techniques, otherwise that you really prioritize?
Number one thing is it is my responsibility, is my staff's responsibility to know these men. And we are beginning that process right now. I want to know the worst thing that's ever happened to you, the best thing that's ever happened to you, your biggest dream, your biggest fear, what happened between your mom, what happened between your dad, because we're not coaching sets and reps and GPS units. And what are we going to do the power clean today? Are we going to do the squat? Are we going to do the bench? Yeah, we'll figure all that out. But let's be able to communicate. Let's connect with these people. And if you and I share time and struggle, then you and I begin to care about each other. My heartstrings are connected to your heartstrings, and whatever pulls on me pulls on you. So start with that. Start with that. And then let's build really physical, tough, resilient people that just keep bringing it over and over and over and over and over. Build a bigger, stronger human being and give him the robustness and the resilience to not fall apart, because it's a violent game.
Hale McGranahan.
Hey, Hale McGranahan. I work with John at the 24/7 site here covering the Gamecocks. I was just curious about your, I guess, mantra, or however you refer to it as, is struggle well. I'm just kind of curious as where that came from and what that sort of means. Yeah,
it came from some big time life setbacks personally, and a lot of the times you get communicated that the pursuit of happiness is the exclusion of struggle. And if you get, if you can just walk down the yellow brick road and make everything easy and everything's fast and everything's drive through and download the app and make it as quick as you possibly can. And what we do is we devalue the experience and the process that it took to get there. And struggle makes it valuable. And you're going to struggle no matter what. You're going to struggle with, you check off all your boxes of what you said was going to make you happy and you're still not happy. Or you're going to struggle chasing down your life's biggest dream, or the girl of your dreams, or being a great father for your kids. And struggle is inevitable, so let's do it well. And if we learn how to lean into struggle instead of try to avoid it, we can be uncommon types of men. And if you got a whole bunch of people that think that way, they can be dangerous to other people that maybe don't think that way. So struggle is essential to making life experience great.
Colin Taylor.
Colin Taylor from the rival side here in Columbia. I'm just curious, you kind of mentioned what makes a good strength coach and kind of your process through this, but at the end of the day, how do you and your staff measure progress? What are some things that you look for, either tangible or intangible, to say, okay, we did a good job with this group this year?
Well, Bo Schembechler said, if it's important to your program, you better measure it. So we measure everything. We're going to measure your body weight every single day. Your body weight's a storyline of how you've been living. Everybody should not be the same. Nobody on this football team or any football team should feel like I just got to maintain. There's no such thing. Everybody needs to be leaner. Everybody needs to be thicker. Everybody needs to be bigger, and they need to be less body fat. So we're gonna measure that. We're gonna measure all of our strength numbers, every single type of strength number there is to measure. We're gonna build a sports science program that is the envy of college football. We're gonna monitor the things that matter. There's a million different metrics, but what are we doing with it? And is it helping us make great decisions as we go to practice and prepare for games? We're going to measure the intangibles. I'm not big on coach speak and terms that are just on the walls that look fancy on graphics and kids see it when they come get recruited. Let's define our terms. And if it matters, how do we measure it? So if we say we're going to be accountable and we say we're going to be tough and we say it's about performing, let's put a metric to it. And so that's what we started that this morning with we call it the grit score. And something Dr. Angela Duckworth helped us build over a number of years. And it's a way to tell each other truth. It's not a way to modify behavior and tell people how wrong they are and make people feel excluded and bad about themselves. But if you don't look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself truth, it's hard to go anywhere from there. So if we say it's something that we're going to do in this program, I better be able to explain its value. And if I can't, we shouldn't do it. And if it is valuable, it should be tracked. So we're going to track everything.
Kind of expound on what it is at this point. Can you expound on what the grit score is, or just kind of take me through that?
I'm just gonna keep it kind of broad. It's broken up into 3 categories: accountability, toughness, and performance. And it's a binary. You did or you didn't. My man Yoda, you do or do not. There is no try.
Let's go to Scotty Eisberg.
Hey, Luke, just 2 quick questions for you. First, I think we've seen strength coaches across the country. They've always got some quirkiness to them. Are you a guy that, cuts the sleeves off your golf shirts or headbutts players with
Lord, no.
helmets on or anything like that?
I'm not going to speak for any other strength coaches. There's guys that are big, powerful people that played this game and they're recognizable and they're really impressive looking individuals. I'm not one of those people. My gift is just, I'm going to keep it real with you. 100% of the time. And you're going to know that what I'm telling you is what I believe is the truth. You might not agree with it and we might duke it out over it, but, and this is an overused term, I wish there was a better word for it, but it's a 21st century word, is authentic. We're going to be authentic with ourselves. Nobody cares how far Bill Belichick can throw a football, right? And just like I shouldn't be sloppy, but no, it shouldn't be about how much I can bench press and how much I fill up sleeves and all of those sorts of things. It really should be. It's about these kids, and it's about what am I doing for them. And yeah, I want to be tough and I want to be strong and I want to be resilient for my kids so I can go play with them. And I want to go and do big excursion things outdoors and let's go to the beach and all that kind of stuff. But this isn't about me drawing attention to myself. This is what can we create that makes these people fire on all cylinders. And so I'm not going to speak for other people's quirkiness. My quirkiness is I will do absolutely anything that is possible in the realms to make this place better and to make these kids tougher. That's what we're going to do.
Mike Yuba.
Second question. Oh,
go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
I was just going to ask you about having Byron Gerudo on staff. What's it like to kind of bring a guy who seems pretty fired up to be coming back to his alma mater?
Well, everything is going through the lens of Coach Beamer's gratitude. And we only want people around here that being offered this job is the best thing that's ever happened to them. And so Byron, having played here, it's a dream come true to come and be in this role and be back with Coach Beamer and some other former players that are coming around. But also it's a daily like monument of how to be here. There's a guy in our room that has walked in their shoes and has won in their shoes. And there's something, it's like, if you're not going to listen to me, take it from him, because he's been here, he's done it. And that's important to get that real-time feedback loop in front of these kids all the time. And more importantly than any of that, he's a phenomenal human being. And we're going to assemble the best human beings possible to where that bleeds through in every single thing that we do. And people understand that, wait a second, this guy, I think, has my best interests in mind. I'm going to listen to what he has to say. And that we are embarking on we're going out into deep water, and we're going to do a deep dive into each other as player to player, coach to player, coach to coach. And everybody in here, it's a superpower when you have a football program where the people around them actually care about each other.
Mike Yuba.
Luke, going off of Scott's first question for you, I think it's evident, the guys that are in this room right now listening to you, that you have passion. And I'm sure that's what keeps you going. But, you hear strength and conditioning coaches. I mean, what's one of the things that just keeps that energy there? I'm not saying it's necessarily fueled by having 5 Red Bulls a day, but, what do you do to be able to keep that energy level so high? Because, we're all human, but at the same time, too, you're looked at in your role to be able to keep the morale so high, even when times are going to be tough, in the coming years.
There's I'm a cold brew guy more than a Red Bull guy, but passion and perseverance, Angela Duckworth, she defines that as grit. And you're only as gritty or resilient as your most recent reference point. And I know what it's like to be in this business. And I know what it's like to be out of this business. I know what it's like to pour concrete and be the worst guy at it. And we love to say grind and all that kind of stuff. And we get to grind. That's a grind. The guy getting in his pickup truck and he knows for the next 12 hours it's going to be 97 degrees outside and we're going to pour this concrete. That's a grind. So my reference point isn't like, oh, we got to get through these 3 lifts. It's like, come on, man. All we got to do is get through these 3 lifts and bring as much joy and energy and excitement and passion to what we're doing. And just, but when it's time, let's not be psychopaths. And when it's time to rest, let's rest. But then when it's time to go, it's time to go. And let's never, ever, ever look around and be like, you know what, I need a break, because as soon as I walk out of this room, there's 1,000 strength coaches that want to be here. And may I never forget that.
Josh Kendall.
Luke, I was wondering how long it took you to hook up with Eric Kimry in the office. And y'all seem, you seem like kindred spirits.
We are. Is that, he's at his high school at Hammond. He said on the championship ring, it says struggle well on it. Yeah. And he starts messaging me the night kind of words started getting out that I was coming down there. And he's like, are you serious right now? And we're trying to figure out still who owes who royalties about some things. But the take that he has on players, on the hearts of players, what struggle means, how it brings meaning to our life. We're off to a budding bromance.
And Shane said that you and he shared some sort of he didn't use this term, but sound like foundational books, stuff that's in your library that you think highly of. What are some of those books for you that Angela Duckworth seems to be
Angela Duckworth's Grit. And the thing about that is, like, if you email her, she'll respond. And we've gone back and forth about what it means and what kids are going through and how to reverse trauma that kids go through. The other one is John Eldridge's Wild at Heart, and Man's Deepest Question. His theory on that. Man's deepest question is, am I enough? And I think we don't ever stop asking ourselves, no matter how old we are. That's why we're obsessed with the ticker on Saturday evenings with the score, because it's a real-time feedback to tell you, you were enough this week. Last week you weren't enough. And so we want people to play this game and this football program as an example of who they know they are. We're going to find out who we are long before we walk into that stadium. And we're not going to play this game in search of who we are. Because when you put the outcome based on, and you put who you are based off of the outcome, that's a slippery slope. And that can get negative really fast. So you've got to go back. You've got to build a foundation of what you know is true about you. And then let's go put that on display for everybody.
Dick Cox.
What's the most important thing you want people to know about you?
We're going to care for these players in a way they've never been cared for.
Hilmer Granahan.
I think you may have kind of addressed this when Colin followed up about the grit score, but I was curious, how do you define grit?
Well, grit is the culmination of all of the things that is showing that we're persevering and we're displaying passion for this long-term thing, which is to win at a high level. Toughness, more specifically, is what you're doing is more important than how you feel. And we want kids to understand that that's just the brain's chemical equation to, is this worth it? Everything we do, you guys decided it was worth it to be sitting here and have this meeting so that you can put it out to your respected outlets. Just like these kids decided it was worth it to come in there this morning and work the brains out on day one. Everything that you do, you're asking yourself, is it worth it? And the more strain and the more struggle and the more investment and time that you put into it, the value of that keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And when you got somebody that just says, I don't care what happens. I don't care how you make me feel. I don't care what the score is right now. I don't care what it's going to be later. This is more important than how I feel. When you have people that live with that kind of urgency, they're usually pretty tough people. So that's how we define it.
Lou at the state.
Sorry there. Luke, what's the biggest challenge since, you've been here a couple of weeks, but you guys are already working out in these next 9 weeks. What's the biggest challenge for you to get through to these players?
Well, the biggest challenge is you land here, you put boots on the ground, you get a staff together, and immediately you have to begin to convey what's most important, and it has to be consistent, and then you have to progress it. So just establishing meaning, establishing value, and then building off of that and upholding it every single day at all moments, and never ever, as my old guy Doc Holliday used to say, don't flinch, don't ever flinch. And when we say the most important thing that we're going to do here is we're going to learn how to love each other. And what I mean by that is not retweets and hearts and fist pounds and hugs and tell everybody how great they are. And, this is, lifter of the week and trophies and all these kinds of participation things. But like love, it bears all things. As the good book says, it confronts, it forgives, it allows grace. I'm going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes, but we're going to be men in process with each other that allow each other to sharpen each other, because we're learning how to love each other. That's the most important thing.
Colin Taylor.
I guess 2 questions for you. I know the mental side of it seems pretty important to you and your staff. How do you guys as a group go about fostering that? How do you improve players' mental health and look out for them as you go through this grueling process? And second of all, is there a playlist idea that you guys go with in the weight room? Do the players pick it? Do you pick it? And do you get to have any input on it?
Oh, I got lots of input. Well, let me answer the first one first, is mental health. Intent is everything, right? Bert Soren said to me yesterday, he's like, I'd rather you accidentally punch me in the nose than swing and miss. right? And so intent of what is it we're trying to do for them and where are we coming from here? This might sound harsh. You might not like how this message is coming out of my mouth right now, but you know why I'm saying it. And as long as you understand that, you are going to have a posture that is able to receive what I'm laying down on you. That is paramount. Intentions are everything, but if you don't, but follow through is more. So we're going to intend, and they're going to understand that this is coming from a place of love, and then we're going to follow through with that with actions and not fluffy words. With the playlist, it's got number one is it's going to be clean. Some songs there's hardly any words left when you do that, but we're going to play some. We're going to do a little bit of everything. We're going to play some old school rock. We're going to put some Jimi Hendrix on in there. We're going to do some weird, funky alt country stuff on there. We're going to put the Drive-By Truckers on. We're going to put Lil Wayne's hits. We're going to put Kodak Black. I'm hip with all of it, man, but it's got to be clean. So,
Any other questions for Coach Day? Good. All right. That is it for today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Everybody.
Appreciate it.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you, Steve-O.
Appreciate it, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
That's some good stuff right there, guys.
Fired up.
I need a tan. That light, man. Jeez.
Yeah, you can just stand like right in the middle
All right, what am I? How am I?
You can just
What am I supposed to do with my hands?